Flip over Coleman's best-selling camp stove and you'll find 3 words: Made in China. The American flag imagery is still on the packaging. The Kansas origin story still anchors the marketing. But the brand that supplied pocket stoves to World War II paratroopers now belongs to Newell Brands, a conglomerate that also owns Sharpie and Rubbermaid. Nearly every stove in their current lineup ships from overseas. 3 smaller companies still build theirs entirely in America. So how did one of the country's most iconic outdoor brands end up trading on a manufacturing identity it quietly abandoned? In 1900, William Coffin Coleman established the Hydrocarbon Light Company in a small Wichita, Kansas workshop. Born in New York in 1870, Coleman moved to Kansas as an infant and started his business not with camp stoves, but with a rental service for pressurized gasoline lamps. These high-pressure lamps offered a bright, flicker-free light to rural families living without electricity. By 1905, Coleman's arc lanterns lit one of the country's first night football games at Fairmount College. The business expanded into gasoline irons and heaters, eventually renaming itself the Coleman Lamp and Stove Company. During the 1920s, the Wichita factory grew into one of the largest exporters in Kansas. Coleman, who served as Wichita's mayor from 1923 to 1924, built the brand on a philosophy of frontier self-sufficiency, ensuring every product was manufactured to withstand rugged daily use. This domestic production network faced its ultimate test in June 1942. The United States military required a compact, lightweight stove that could operate in extreme temperatures using multiple fuel types. Coleman engineered the Model 520, designated the GI pocket stove, standard issue for the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions. This pressurized liquid fuel stove ran on gasoline or field rations, delivering hot meals to paratroopers in high-altitude combat zones. The Wichita assembly lines produced over 1 million units during World War II, establishing the stove as an essential piece of military gear alongside the Jeep. Following the war, the company adapted this military-grade design to the civilian market with the Model 530. For the next 50 years, green Coleman stoves became a permanent fixture on American campgrounds. This long legacy of domestic manufacturing built a generational trust with consumers, cementing Coleman as the defining symbol of American outdoor self-reliance. In March 1998, the historic tie between Coleman and its independent Kansas heritage began to dissolve. Sunbeam Products purchased the Coleman Company for $1.6 billion, initiating a sequence of corporate transactions that altered the firm's trajectory. Under Sunbeam's ownership, heavy financial pressures and aggressive restructuring efforts created immediate pressure to cut costs, targeting domestic manufacturing operations for high-volume, low-margin products. Control of the brand shifted again in late 2004, when Jarden Corporation announced a $745.6 million cash purchase of Sunbeam's parent company. Jarden integrated Coleman into its own growing portfolio of outdoor recreation brands, further separating the business from its original manufacturing base. The consolidation reached its peak in 2016, when global consumer giant Newell Brands completed a $15 billion acquisition of Jarden. Today, Newell Brands manages this legacy from its corporate headquarters in Sandy Springs, Georgia. Coleman no longer operates as an independent manufacturer driven by regional pride. Instead, it exists as a single managed asset inside a sprawling conglomerate, sharing corporate shelf space with unrelated household brands like Rubbermaid, Sharpie, and Calphalon. According to corporate filings, Newell operates a global sourcing model, comprising more than 18,000 suppliers across 90 countries. Under this corporate structure, production decisions are dictated by global logistics, cost savings, and supply chain consolidation. Coleman had transitioned from a dedicated American manufacturer into a line item in a multinational portfolio, establishing the corporate structure that would quietly move its iconic camp stoves far from American soil. Flip the box of a brand new Coleman Classic 2-burner propane stove, and the packaging tells a familiar story. The cardboard displays pine-forested wilderness, references to a century of outdoor heritage, and prominent American flags. Retail displays frequently feature a Coleman USA badge, a visual cue that directly evokes the rugged self-sufficiency of the company's Kansas origins. But open that box, lift out the forest green steel stove, and turn it upside down. Stamped directly into the metal of the bottom plate, right next to the SKU 424 and the serial number, are 3 clear words: Made in China. This is not insider speculation or a leaked corporate memo. It is retail evidence visible to any consumer on store shelves and kitchen tables across the country. For decades, families purchased these stoves under a generational promise of domestic reliability, trusting that their investment supported American workers and local communities. Today, the physical stove itself has become the primary witness to a quiet sourcing shift. While the marketing continues to trade on nostalgic, patriotic imagery, customs data reveals the underlying reality. Bills of lading document thousands of metal camping stoves shipping from Chinese manufacturing plants, including Shandong Yulong metal products, directly to domestic ports. The classic 2-burner, once a cornerstone of American industrial capacity, is now a fully imported commodity. For the average buyer, this creates a profound disconnect. The packaging borrows the prestige of domestic history, while the product inside relies on overseas factories. It is a reality hidden in plain sight. It requires no investigative clearance or access to confidential boardroom minutes. A simple glance at the bottom of a steel casing shows the true origin of a modern Coleman. One specific model in the current Coleman catalog offers a partial exception to this overseas manufacturing trend. The Guide Series dual-fuel stove, Model 425F, still carries domestic labeling. However, the exact phrasing on the packaging requires careful reading. The box does not say Made in USA. Instead, it features a qualified claim, Assembled in USA. For consumers, the difference between these two claims represents a legal and structural division defined by the Federal Trade Commission. Under FTC standards, a product labeled Made in USA must be all or virtually all manufactured domestically, from raw materials to final packaging. An Assembled in USA label indicates that while the final construction took place on domestic soil, the underlying components came from somewhere else. Customs records and shipping manifests show that over 90% of the parts for this dual-fuel stove, including the burner brackets, valves, regulators, and fuel tanks, arrive at domestic ports from contract manufacturers in China and Vietnam. The final assembly historically occurred at a domestic facility, but the physical substance of the stove remains a product of the global supply chain. This single model serves as the exception that defines the current rule. Nearly every other portable stove in the current corporate lineup is manufactured entirely overseas. For buyers seeking a product built from American steel by American hands, the Assembled in USA label exposes a shifting standard, showing how corporate owners use precise legal definitions to maintain an image of domestic origin. In Seattle's industrial SODO district, a different manufacturing model has been running continuously since 1984. Inside a single building, Mountain Safety Research, or SAR, fabricates its entire stove line from the ground up. This facility does not rely on pre-assembled overseas components or imported sub-assemblies. Instead, production begins with raw sheet metal, metal tubing, and solid aluminum bar stock. Inside the plant, a skilled workforce of approximately 70 technicians guides these raw materials through a complete manufacturing sequence. The process combines heavy-duty industrial stamping and CNC machining with high-power laser cutting and precision TIG welding. Workers bend raw tubes and stamp out metal frames before hand-assembling each finished unit at dedicated workstations. This unified setup allows the company to design its own tooling and run quality control checkpoints directly on the factory floor, avoiding the supply chain fragmentation common in modern corporate manufacturing. The Seattle facility produces MSR's complete catalog of high-performance stoves on site. This includes the liquid fuel WhisperLit International, and WhisperLit Universal models, alongside the heavy-duty Expedition Grade XGKEX and the multi-fuel Dragonfly. The factory also manufactures canister fuel models, including the high-altitude reactor and the adjustable Superfly. Every step of the process occurs within this single Washington state footprint, from the initial metal cuts to the final pressure testing of the fuel valves and packaging. By keeping the design, tooling, and fabrication in one location, MSR maintains direct control over material specifications and build standards. It is a system built on physical manufacturing capacity rather than strategic marketing terms, proving that high-volume domestic production of technical outdoor stoves remains entirely functional in the United States. Outside Salt Lake City in Sandy, Utah, EmberLit fabricates a line of flat-packing, wood-burning stoves entirely within its own workshop. This operation focuses on minimalist engineering for backpackers who want to shed every possible ounce of trail weight. Unlike heavy liquid fuel systems, these stoves rely on a simple, geometric design, where flat panels slot together without tools, then fold completely flat for storage in a backpack side pocket. EmberLit builds these stoves using high-grade domestic alloys. The classic original model is cut from 1.2 millimeter 304 stainless steel, balancing durability with a weight of 12 ounces. To serve the ultralight backpacking community, the workshop also works with grade 5 titanium. The titanium ultralight model shares the exact dimensions of the original, but drops the weight to just under 6 ounces. The smallest model in the lineup, the Fire Ant, weighs a mere 2.8 ounces when built from titanium. Titanium provides a big weight saving for ultralight users. Because these stoves burn twigs, dry leaves, and pine cones gathered directly on the trail, they require no heavy metal fuel canisters, pressurized fuel pumps, or volatile chemicals. This design choice eliminates both the dead weight of fuel containers and the environmental footprint of discarded metal canisters. Every panel is CNC machined and laser cut to tight tolerance of 0.003 of an inch, ensuring the interlocking tabs remain secure even under intense heat. By keeping the design, machining, and final finishing under one roof in Utah, the company maintains absolute control over its materials, backing each stove with a lifetime guarantee. In Fairmont, Minnesota, a small workshop named North Woods Fabrication operates at a completely different scale of domestic manufacturing. This family-owned business, founded to create rugged heating solutions for tiny houses, converted buses, and overlanding rigs, employs just 12 craftsmen. The operation was built as a direct rejection of the global sourcing model, the owners drawing on years of experience observing the outdoor industry's shift toward overseas contract factories, chose instead to keep 100% of their production inside the United States. North Woods specializes in heavy-duty steel, wood-burning stoves designed for hot tents and off-grid shelters. Unlike mass-market camp stoves made of thin-stamped metal or ultralight titanium alloys, these units are fabricated from heavy-gauge domestic steel, designed to withstand continuous high-temperature wood combustion. Inside the Fairmont facility, the manufacturing process is hands-on and rigorous. Craftspeople utilize CNC 5-axis mills and fiber laser cutters to shape the raw steel before each stove is hand-cut, welded, and powder-coated on the workshop floor. This deliberate, small-batch approach means a single production run requires a 3 to 4 week build time. There are no imported subassemblies, no supply chain transparency issues, and no misleading origin labels. By sourcing raw American metals and completing every manufacturing step in Minnesota, North Woods provides a final practical proof that domestic stove production is not a relic of the past, but a viable path for makers willing to prioritize durability over mass-market margins. The modern outdoor gear market operates on a quiet friction between nostalgia and logistics. When a brand trades on the imagery of rugged self-reliance, it sells more than steel and valves. It sells a promise of domestic dependability. But when a company built in a Kansas inventor's workshop answers to a global conglomerate, its supply chains inevitably drift to overseas contract factories. The green camp stove on the store shelf becomes a physical symbol of this disconnect. An American icon wrapped in patriotic packaging, but stamped with foreign origins on its underside. This shift is not an unavoidable law of economics. Across the country, smaller manufacturers prove that domestic production remains entirely viable. In Seattle, Mountain Safety Research stamps, welds, and hand-assembles technical stoves from raw metal. In Utah, EmberLit Precision cuts titanium panels for ultralight backpackers. In Minnesota, North Woods Fabrication shapes heavy steel for wilderness shelters. These businesses operate without the vast logistics networks of multinational conglomerates, choosing instead to prioritize manufacturing transparency, local jobs, and material quality over mass-market margins. For the consumer, the stark contrast between these two paths highlights a deeper question of market trust and corporate accountability. When legacy brands use historic imagery to obscure their modern supply chains, the burden of truth falls entirely on the buyer. It requires turning the stove over, looking past the flags and the wilderness illustrations, and examining the actual steel. True reliability isn't found in a clever marketing campaign, but in the physical reality of where and how a product is built. Understanding the supply chain is the only way to make an informed purchase. Buyers who want to support domestic manufacturing must look beyond the logo, inspect the labels, and verify the origin before checking out. Today, heritage has become a corporate asset to lease, rather than a manufacturing standard to uphold. As conglomerates trade on nostalgic imagery, true domestic makers prove that local production is still entirely viable. The ultimate choice now rests with the consumer. Are we buying a genuine tool of self-reliance, or simply the illusion of one? Share your thoughts in the comments below.